Hello, I'm Mike,
I'm
and we're reading the Count of Monte Cristo, and we're about to read chapter 11. I hope you're well. Hope everyone out there is doing well.
Stay safe, everybody.
Yeah, wash your hands. Let's get right into it. Let me just switch so that you can see the screen. So at the end of chapter 10, we were just hanging around with Louis the 18th.
Yes.
He's got his advisors all around him.
Lots of pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, big wigs.
Probably literally.
Yeah, that's in my head. They've got these like mammoth, almost like Brian May
But
from
maybe
Queen
not.
wigs.
I love it. But now that I think about it, maybe they wouldn't. Maybe that's more like a Louis the 14th
Maybe.
type thing.
Maybe.
Because this is, I think, closer to the 1800s.
Yeah, that's
But
possible.
it's more fun to imagine them with funny wigs.
Agreed. So at the very end of this chapter, Monsieur d'André is like coming back, cried de Blacas. The Minister of Police appeared at the door, pale and trembling and as if ready to faint. Villefort was about to retire. He's about to leave. So Villefort, de Blacas, and Louis the 18th are there. And here's Monsieur d'André, the head of the police, or the Minister of Police. Here we go. Chapter 11. The Corsican Ogre. At the sight of this agitation, Louis the 18th pushed from him violently the table at which he was sitting. "What ails you, Baron?" he exclaimed. "You appear quite aghast. Has your uneasiness anything to do with what Monsieur de Blacas has told me, and Monsieur de Villefort has just confirmed?" Monsieur de Blacas moved suddenly towards the Baron, but the fright of the courtier pleaded for the forbearance of the statesman, and, besides, as matters were, it was much more to his advantage that the prefect of police should triumph over him than he should humiliate the prefect. Huh. So there's a little bit of politicking going on there that I don't fully understand. "Sire," stammered the Baron. "Well, what is it?" asked Louis the 18th. The Minister of Police, giving way to an impulse of despair, was about to throw himself at the feet of Louis the 18th, who retreated a step and frowned. "Will you speak?" he said. "Oh, sire, what a dreadful misfortune! I am indeed to be pitied. I can never forgive myself." "Monsieur," said Louis the 18th, "I command you to speak." "Well, sire, the usurper left Elba on the 26th February, and landed on the 1st of March. "And where? In Italy?" asked the king eagerly. "In France, sire, at a small port near Antibes in the Gulf of Juan." "The usurper landed in France, near Antibes in the Gulf of Juan, 250 leagues from Paris, on the 1st of March. And you only acquired this information today, the 3rd of March? Well, sir, what you tell me is impossible. You must have received a false report, or you have gone mad." "Alas, sire, it is but too true." Louis made a gesture of indescribable anger and alarm, and then drew himself up as if this sudden blow had struck him at the same moment in heart and countenance. "In France!" he cried. "The usurper! In France! Then they did not watch over this man. Who knows? They were, perhaps, in league with him." "Oh, sire," exclaimed the Duc de Blacas, "Monsieur d'André is not a man to be accused of treason. Sire, we have all been blind, and the Minister of Police has shared the general blindness, that is all." So I think that's what the beginning paragraph was all about. It was like, I'll let the chief of police break the bad news so he looks like the bad guy.
Right.
"But," said Villefort, and then suddenly checking himself, he was silent. Then he continued, "Your pardon, sire," he said, bowing. "My zeal carried me away. Will your majesty deign to excuse me?" "Speak, sir, speak boldly," replied Louis. "You alone forewarned us of the evil. Now, try and aid us with the remedy." Why don't you take it from here?
Sure. "Sire," said Villefort, "the usurper is detested in the south. And it seems to me that if he ventured into the south, it would be easy to raise Languedoc and Provence against him." "Yes, assuredly," replied the minister, "but he is advancing by Gap and Sisteron." "Advancing! He is advancing," said Louis the 18th. "Is he then advancing on Paris?" The Minister of Police maintained a silence which was equivalent to a complete avowal. And Dauphiné, sir? Inquired the king of Villefort. Do you think it possible to rouse that as well as Provence? Sire, I am sorry to tell your majesty a cruel fact, but the feeling in Dauphiné is quite the reverse of that in Provence or Languedoc. The mountaineers are Bonapartists, sire. Then, murmured Louis, he was well informed. And how many men had he with him? I do not know, sire, answered the minister of police. What? You do not know? Have you neglected to obtain information on that point? On that point, of course it is of no consequence, he added with a withering smile. Sire, it was impossible to learn. The dispatch simply stated the fact of the landing and the route taken by the usurper. And how did this dispatch reach you? Inquired the king. The minister bowed his head, and while a deep color overspread his cheeks, he stammered out, By telegraph, sire. Louis XVIII advanced a step and folded his arms over his chest, as Napoleon would have done.
So here's Monsieur le Duc de Blacas looking like a fancy gent here.
Yeah,
he's got like
hip
thrust out, rosy cheeks or something going on there. He's got that sort of the side puffs.
Side puffs. That could be a wig.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And his hat is in the chair.
Fancy hat. So then, he exclaimed, turning pale with anger, 7 conjoined and allied armies overthrew that man. A miracle of heaven replaced me on the throne of my fathers after 25 years of exile. I have, during those 25 years, spared no pains to understand the people of France and the interests which were confided to me. And now, when I see the fruition of my wishes almost within reach, the power I hold in my hands bursts and shatters to atoms. Sire, it is fatality, murmured the minister, feeling that the pressure of circumstances, however light a thing to destiny, was too much for any human strength to endure.
So dramatic.
So dramatic. What our enemies say of us is then true. We have learnt nothing, forgotten nothing. If I were betrayed as he was, I would console myself. But to be in the midst of persons elevated by myself to places of honor, who ought to watch over me more carefully than over themselves, for my fortune is theirs, before me they were nothing. After me they will be nothing, and perish miserably from incapacity, ineptitude. Oh yes, sir, you are right. It is fatality. The minister quailed before this outburst of sarcasm. Monsieur de Blacas wiped the moisture from his brow. Villefort smiled within himself, for he felt his increased importance. Good, love.
Yeah, there's so much politicking going on here. Like, this one guy is being so embarrassed because, like, they were completely caught off guard. Louis XVIII is the high-status character who's, like, basically berating him in front of... I wouldn't call them his peers. Villefort is not his peer, but, like...
Yeah.
Is berating him amongst these other people. And I guess it's... Who's the last one? Blacas. Wait, so...
Oh, no, sorry. Yeah.
D'André and Blacas.
Minister of Police and then Blacas, yeah.
Yeah, both of them are kind of getting, like, dressed down a bit. And Villefort's like, my importance because of my message.
Not related to these guys.
Yeah, not in that boat.
Uh-huh.
Okay. To fall, continued King Louis, who at the first glance had sounded the abyss on which the monarchy hung suspended. To fall, and learn of that fall by telegraph. Oh, I would rather mount the scaffold of my brother Louis the 16th than thus descend the staircase at the Tuileries, driven away by ridicule. Ridicule, sir! Why, you know not its power in France, and yet you ought to know it. Sire, murmured the minister, for pity's approach, Monsieur de Villefort, resumed the king, addressing the young man, who, motionless and breathless, was listening to a conversation on which depended the destiny of a kingdom. Approach, and tell monsieur that it is possible to know beforehand all that he has not known. That's right, Villefort had this information in advance. Sire, it was really impossible to learn secrets which that man concealed from all the world. Really impossible. Yes, that is a great word, sir. Unfortunately, there are great words as there are great men. I have measured them. Really impossible for a minister who has an office, agents, spies, and 1,500,000 francs for Secret Service money to know what is going on at 60 leagues from the coast of France. Well then, see, here is a gentleman who had none of these resources at his disposal. A gentleman, only a simple magistrate, who learned more than you with all your police, and who would have saved my crown if, like you, he had the power of directing a telegraph. The look of the Minister of Police was turned from concentrated spite on Villefort, who bent his head in modest triumph, like, how do you do? I do not mean that for you, Blacka, continued Louis XVIII. For if you have discovered nothing, at least you have had the good sense to persevere in your suspicion. Any others than yourself would have considered the disclosure of Monsieur de Villefort insignificant, or else dictated by venal ambition.
Womp.
These words were an allusion to the sentiments which the Minister of Police had uttered with so much confidence an hour before. It's kind of the author kind of patting himself on the back a little bit there, going like, hey, that's a reference. Just so you know, I don't want you to miss it. I can do one more paragraph. Villefort understood the king's intent. Any other person would, perhaps, have been overcome by such an intoxicating draft of praise, but he feared to make... draught of praise? Draft? Okay, of praise. But he feared to make for himself a mortal enemy of the police minister, although he saw that d'André was irrevocably lost. In fact, the minister, who, in the plenitude of his power, had been unable to unearth Napoleon's secret, might, in despair at his own downfall, interrogate Dantes and so lay bare the motives of Villefort's plot. Realizing this, Villefort came to the rescue of the crestfallen minister, instead of aiding to crush him. Oh, so much, like, politicking and planning and double-crossing and
Villefort, you
so
said
much
it again.
drama. Yeah, take it.
Sire, said Villefort, the suddenness of this event must prove to your majesty that the issue is in the hands of Providence. What your majesty is pleased to attribute to me as profound perspicacity is simply owing to chance, and I have profited by that chance like a good and devoted servant. That's all. Do not attribute to me more than I deserve, sire, that your majesty may never have occasion to recall the first opinion you have been pleased to form of me. The Minister of Police thanked the young man by an eloquent look. He's like,
I owe you.
And Villefort understood that he had succeeded in his design. That is to say, that without forfeiting the gratitude of the king, he had made a friend of one on whom, in case of necessity, he might rely. He's just like, thank you, bro.
Yeah. I'm gonna be paying. I'm gonna be like, there'll be an invoice. Checks like the bill. I'll bill you.
Yeah. 'Tis well, resumed the king. Oh, after all that, he's like, yeah, okay. Fine. But honestly, how was no one paying close enough attention to Napoleon to not know that he was like leaving the country?
Yeah.
Like that is kind of shoddy work.
Yeah. Especially since it doesn't sound like a small operation. It's not just Napoleon sneaking in. He's got 3 ships.
Yeah. Come on, man. And now, gentlemen, he continued, turning toward Monsieur de Blacas and the Minister of Police, I have no further occasion for you, and you may retire. What now remains to do is in the department of the Minister of War. Okay.
He's like, you're done.
I guess.
At this point, it's wartime because Napoleon's on the coast.
Fortunately, sire, said Monsieur de Blacas, we can rely on the army. Your Majesty knows how every report confirms their loyalty and attachment. Do not mention reports, Duke, to me, for I know now what confidence to place in them. Yet, speaking of reports, Baron, what have you learned with regard to the affair in the Rue Saint-Jacques? The affair in Rue Saint-Jacques? Exclaimed Villefort, unable to repress an exclamation. Then, suddenly pausing, he added, Your pardon, sire, but my devotion to your majesty has made me forget not the respect I have, for that is too deeply engraved in my heart, but the rules of etiquette. What a suck-up.
Yeah. Oh, pardon, my king.
Oh, I'm sorry,
My nose was so deep in your rear end that I did not realize. I forgot myself.
Go on, sir, replied the king. You have today earned the right to make inquiries here. Sire, interposed the Minister of Police, I came a moment ago to give your Majesty fresh information which I had obtained on this head when your Majesty's attention was attracted by the terrible event that has occurred in the Gulf, and now these facts will cease to interest your Majesty. On the contrary, sir, on the contrary, said Louis XVIII. This affair seems to me to have a decided connection with that which occupies our attention, and the death of General Quesnel will perhaps put us on the direct track of a great internal conspiracy. At the name of General Quesnel, Villefort trembled.
So I am in the dark here. Are you?
I seem to recall them saying something about Rue Saint-Jacques before, but I don't. We've never heard the name of this general.
Okay. All right.
Take it away.
Everything points to the conclusion, sire, said the Minister of Police. That death was not the result of suicide as we first believed, but an assassination. General Quesnel, it appears, had just left a Bonapartist club when he disappeared. An unknown person had been with him that morning and made an appointment with him in the Rue Saint-Jacques. Unfortunately, the general's valet, who was dressing his heir at the moment when the stranger entered, heard the street mentioned, but did not catch the number. As the police minister related this to the king, Villefort, who looked as if his very life hung on the speaker's lips, turned alternately red and pale. The king looked towards him.
Assassination. Left the Bonapartist club. An unknown person had been with him. Made an appointment.
Is his dad living in the Rue Saint-Jacques? Is that?
It's got to be related to his dad.
Okay. So, Noirtier. Yeah. So, okay. Bless you. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
Do you not think with me, Monsieur de Villefort, that General Quesnel, whom they believed attached to the usurper, but who is really entirely devoted to me, has perished the victim of a Bonapartist ambush? It is probable, sire, replied Villefort, but is this all that is known? They are on the track of the man who appointed the meeting with him. On his track, said Villefort. Yes, the servant has given his description. He is a man from 52 years of age, dark, with black eyes covered with shaggy eyebrows and a thick mustache.
Tom Selleck.
Magnum P.I. He was dressed in a blue frock coat with, like, Hawaiian print. He was dressed in a blue frock coat, buttoned up to the chin, and wore at his buttonhole the rosette of an officer of the Legion of Honor. Yesterday, a person exactly corresponding with this description was followed, but he was lost sight of at the corner of the Rue de la Jussienne and the Rue Coqueron. Villefort leaned on the back of an armchair, for as the Minister of Police went on speaking, he felt his legs bend under him. But when he learned that the unknown had escaped the vigilance of the agent who followed him, he breathed again. I wonder if that's his dad.
Totes his dad.
Continue to seek for this man, sir, said the king to the Minister of Police. For if, as I am all but convinced, General Quesnel, who would have been so useful to us at this moment, has been murdered, his assassins, Bonapartists or not, shall be cruelly punished. It required all of Villefort's coolness not to betray the terror with which this declaration of the king inspired him.
So hang on. His dad was the one who killed him, or his dad arranged for the meeting in which...
I think it's unclear, but
okay.
He was at least involved.
Okay.
That's the implication here.
He was seen leaving the scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least we assume that this is Villefort's dad. I can't imagine it's anyone else.
Yeah.
It's gotta be. How strange, continued the king with some asperity. The police think that they have disposed of the whole matter when they say, a murder has been committed, and especially so when they can add, and we are on the track of the guilty person. That's a good point. Touche, king. Sire, your majesty will, I trust, be amply satisfied on this point at least. We shall see. I will no longer detain you, Monsieur de Villefort, for you must be fatigued after so long a journey. Go and rest. Of course, you stopped at your father's? A feeling of faintness came over Villefort. Oh, is this might be
the king?
the king. So yeah, I think we saw a photo of him earlier.
Right.
He wasn't wearing a big wig, but in my head, Brian May wig, just massive wig.
And he kind of looks like he's got like a soldier's uniform.
He also
Like
appears.
little epaulets.
I think that was in vogue back then. Like if you're the king, then you're gonna be like wearing medals and stuff to show how awesome you are. Also, his head is like twice the size of a normal head.
And he's got no neck.
He's got no neck. This man has no neck.
This man has no neck.
Why don't you take it from here?
Okay. No, sire, he replied. I alighted at the Hotel de Madrid, in the Rue de Tournon. But you have seen him? Sire, I went straight to the Duc de Blacas. But you will see him then? I think not, sire. I forgot, said Louis, smiling in a manner which proved that all these questions were not made without a motive. I forgot you and Monsieur Noirtier are not on the best terms possible, and that is another sacrifice made to the royal cause, and for which you should be recompensed. He's doing a poor job of, like, hiding the fact that he's trying to set a trap for him.
Yeah.
Oh, silly me.
Wait, didn't you did you want to see your dad? No.
Pretty sure you said you were going to
Thought you were
see
gonna.
him,
Okay, the reason I asked, your dad, totally a Bonapartist. I'm
Yeah.
glad you said no.
Yeah.
A classic Louis XVIII trap.
Classic Louis XVIII.
Yeah.
Okay. Sire, the kindness your majesty deigns to evince towards me is a recompense which so far surpasses my utmost ambitions that I have nothing more to ask for. Never mind, sir, we will not forget you. Make your mind easy. In the meanwhile, the king here detached the cross of the Legion of Honor, which he usually wore over his blue coat near the cross of Saint Louis, above the order of Notre Dame du Mont Carmel and Saint Lazare, and gave it to Villefort. In the meanwhile, take this cross. Sire, said Villefort, your majesty mistakes. This is an officer's cross. Ma foi, said Louis XVIII, take it, such as it is, for I have not the time to procure you another. Blacas, let it be your care to see that the brevet is made out and sent to Monsieur de Villefort. Villefort's eyes were filled with tears of joy and pride. He took the cross and kissed it. It's all you, and I'll be right back.
Okay. And now, he said, may I inquire what are the orders with which your majesty deigns to honor me? Take what rest you require, and remember that if you are not able to serve me here in Paris, you may be of the greatest service to me at Marseille. Sire, replied Villefort, bowing, in an hour I shall have quitted Paris. Go, sir, said the king, and should I forget you, king's memories are short. Oh, no, he says this. And should I forget you, for king's memories are short, do not be afraid to bring yourself to my recollection. Baron, send for the minister of war. Blacas, remain. Ah, sir, said the minister of police to Villefort as they left the Tuileries, you entered by Luck's door. Your fortune is made. Will it be long first? Muttered Villefort, saluting the minister. Will it be long first?
Will it be long before my fortune is made? I think that's what he meant.
Okay. Saluting the minister, whose career was ended, and looking about, hopefully he's not going to get his head chopped off, and looking about him for a hackney coach. One passed at the moment, which he hailed. He gave his address to the driver, and springing in, threw himself on the seat and gave loose to dreams of ambition. 10 minutes afterwards, Villefort reached his hotel, ordered horses to be ready in 2 hours, and asked to have his breakfast brought to him. He was about to begin his repast when the sound of the bell rang sharp and loud. The valet opened the door, and Villefort heard someone speak his name. I guess this is Louis again.
Yeah.
And this is Villefort being like, I love you!
That
And
totally looks like a wig, don't you think?
down here?
Yeah.
For sure.
And look
Everyone's
at those.
wigging it.
Look at those tights
Yeah,
on Louis XVIII.
yeah, very
It's
good.
got a little bit of like stubby legs.
Yes. I think, why don't you close this out?
Okay. Who could know that I was here already? Said the young man. The valet entered. Well, said Villefort, what is it? Who rang? Who asked for me? A stranger who will not send in his name. A stranger who will not send in his name? What can he want with me?
This is like the, I guess, late 18th or 19th century equivalent of receiving like a call from a private number.
I guess. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, number blocked. What?
Exactly.
Who is this?
He wishes to speak to you. To me? Yes. Did he mention my name? Yes. What sort of person is he? Why, sir, about a man of 50. Short or tall? About your height, sir. Dark or fair? Dark, very dark, with black eyes, black hair, black eyebrows. And how dressed? Asked Villefort quickly. In a blue frock coat, buttoned up close, decorated with the Legion of Honor. It is he, said Villefort, turning pale.
I guess this is the porter.
Yeah, I guess I
here's
shouldn't
the
have given
guy.
him such a dark, deep voice.
Yeah.
He's like a little kid almost. And then there's Villefort with his Neo shades.
His Neo sunglasses, and this looks
And
like
Matrix
the man
coat.
in the blue frock coat.
Tote's gonna be his dad.
I think so.
Eh, pardieu, said the individual whose description we have twice given. That's horrible.
It's a little clumsy.
It's a little ham-fisted.
It's a little clumsy, yeah.
Said the guy who, like, we just described, like, just now, but also, like,
Here's a
earlier in
footnote.
the chapter. Said the dude, entering the door. What a great deal of ceremony. Is it the custom in Marseille for sons to keep their fathers waiting in their anterooms?
Called it.
Boom. Father, cried Villefort. Then I was not deceived. I felt sure it must be you. Well then, if you felt so sure, replied the newcomer, putting his cane in a corner and his hat on a chair, allow me to say, my dear Gérard, that it was not very filial of you to keep me waiting at the door. Gerard?
Gerard de Villefort.
I guess so.
Right.
Did we know? Maybe we knew that already.
Everyone's being like referred to by their last name. Edmond Dantes.
And also their occupation.
Yeah.
The minister of the police. Leave us, Germain, said Villefort. The servant quitted the apartment with evident signs of astonishment. He's like,
See ya! All right. That was chapter 11. Okay, so the plot thickens.
The plot
thickens.
The pudding is thickening up.
Okay, so what did we learn?
We learned that Villefort's dad is causing trouble and
Yeah.
that he maybe knows, like he obviously knows Villefort's in town, and maybe he's gonna try to rope him into. He's either A, gonna try to prevent Villefort from like exposing his plans, and or B, gonna try to like rope him in to be like, you have the king's ears, say this stuff.
Yeah.
Or he's gonna be like, you're dead, son.
You're dead to me. That's why I visited.
Yeah.
You owe me 20 francs.
Yeah, something like that. What's your guess? Or like, what was your take on this chapter?
Well, okay, so lots of politicking, and de Villefort is threading this very fine needle. There's still something that I don't fully understand. I don't fully get his plan yet.
Yeah.
What he wants to do.
Plan, yeah.
He's trying to make money somehow. And maybe it's just by being in a good position with the king.
Right? There's
Maybe
like
that's
other
enough.
opportunities that will spring up.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was the only reason he was doing this. It's clearly grounded, like his framing of Dantes is clearly grounded in like a real event where Napoleon is invading, Bonapartists are like killing generals and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you'll pardon my French, shit is underway.
Yeah.
Like new shit has come to light, man. And like there are wheels in motion here that de Villefort just kind of accidentally got like roped into by framing Dantes. Dantes is like, he was like this first innocent bystander. De Villefort is less innocent by far, but even he's getting roped into this way bigger thing. Like this thing is like a snowball that's getting
like
really big.
Or it's like a series of gears, and there are a couple of cranks, and Villefort started a crank, but then he activated something else that he's you can't stop it now.
And I think his father's probably, you're right. His father came for a reason. I mean, they're clearly estranged. They were estranged, or at least that's what we've been told reading the text. They've been estranged. His father came here. He wants something, and now Villefort is so nicely placed in the king's favor. I think you might be onto something with him. Like, oh, I need you to like distract the king, or I need you to like get me this information or something.
I will say I have zero sympathy for Villefort, and if he ends up like under the bus here, I'm like, all right, good.
It's a French school bus.
See
Road
you later.
pizza. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am of a similar sense there. Like I have very little sympathy for him, and like get in trouble. It's fine for him to get in trouble. I'm eager to get back to Dantes actually. I wonder when that will be. I want to know more about Villefort's plan at least, because then it sort of like completes the picture for me.
Yeah.
But maybe it was just to get in good with the king, and maybe that's it.
What are the two separate events again that they're trying to tie? The Rue Saint Jacques with the general,
the murder,
of the general, and then the thing with Dantes, or the Napoleon.
Napoleon is invading. Yeah.
So they're connecting those. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're like, seems like
clearly this
Bonapartist killed the general.
Yeah, like this.
In this part of Napoleon's plot.
Yeah, things are underway here.
Okay. Yeah, we need more data there.
Okay. Well, I thought
good.
that was a pretty interesting chapter. The plot is thickening nicely. The next chapter is called Father and Son, and I think we're going to get more information about what Noirtier and Villefort are up to. De Villefort.
Yes, I'm excited to see what his dad's like.
Yeah.
I have a feeling his dad's going to be like all cool and cunning. And...
Yeah, I killed the general. What of it?
What of it, man? Suck it, son.
I hope that doesn't mean that we can't like play pool or anything anymore. Yeah. We'll see.
We'll see how it goes.
Thanks for watching Chapter 11 of The Count of Monte Cristo. I hope you enjoyed. Let us know what you think in the comments. Please subscribe and like and all that YouTube stuff. I'm Mike.
I'm Em.
And we'll see you next time. Take care.
Bye.